Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take the sources you share with us and turn them into immediately usable knowledge, providing you with that shortcut to being thoroughly well-informed. Today, we are analyzing a company whose products are, well, they're literally stuck to your clothes, your food packaging, your car, and even, potentially, your skin, but whose actual business structure and, frankly, incredible strategic transformation remain largely invisible to the public. We are diving deep into Avery Dennison Corporation. Now, be honest. When you hear that name, what's the first thing that springs to mind?
That's the key question, isn't it?
For me, it's those ubiquitous white labels, the ones you'd print addresses on, or maybe those giant institutional binders we all used in school. I think of office supplies, I think of stickers.
Yeah.
It gives this impression of a reliable, maybe slightly boring legacy paper company.
And that mental image is exactly what we need to dismantle today, because that perception is not only outdated, it's financially and strategically misleading. That association's what they sold off over a decade ago.
Really? The whole thing?
The whole consumer-facing brand. So our mission today is to uncover how a company founded on a very simple, elegant, adhesive idea, the pressure-sensitive label, executed one of the most remarkable corporate transformations of the last few decades.
Okay.
They went from gummed labels to pioneering the digital identity of physical objects.
That's a massive leap. We're talking about shedding an entire legacy identity to become a 21st century tech enabler.
Precisely. This is not just a label company anymore. It's a critical multinational manufacturer of fundamental materials. Yes, the pressure-sensitive adhesive materials are still core, but the future is built around high-tech solutions.
Like what, specifically?
Things like apparel branding systems, the foundational technology for RFID inlays, and highly specialized medical products like wearable sensors. When you look at the sheer scope of their influence across modern, intelligent supply chains, it's genuinely surprising.
The numbers certainly support the idea that this is far from a simple office supply vendor. Avery Dennison is a behemoth.
Oh, absolutely.
They are headquartered in Mentor, Ohio, but the roots go all the way back to 1935. That's 90 years ago. Founded originally in Los Angeles, California.
90 years of continuous operation, but more importantly, 90 years of continuously evolving its core competency in material science.
That's the key.
They've managed to stay relevant through multiple industrial and technological shifts. It's pretty incredible.
And the scale today is just staggering. They operate in more than 50 countries globally, employing approximately 35,000 people.
35,000.
And when we talk about financial heft, their 2024 revenue snapshot was US $8.76 billion, paired with a net income of US $705 million.
Right.
This isn't a niche industrial supplier. This is a Fortune 500 entity that provides the backbone, literally and digitally, for a vast amount of global commerce.
That's a perfect way to put it. They don't just supply labels, they supply the intelligence necessary for modern retail and logistics.
Okay, let's unpack this history. Because you can't appreciate the digital pivot without understanding the sticky foundation it was built upon. It all starts in 1935 in Los Angeles, CA, with a classic American entrepreneur story.
That's right. The company was founded by R. Stanton Avery and his wife, and it was initially called Kum Kleen Products.
Kum Kleen! I love that.
The brilliance of that name captures the entire value proposition. Kum Kleen. It highlights the simple yet elusive technical goal they achieved, a self-adhesive material that stuck securely when needed, but could also be peeled away cleanly.
Without leaving residue.
Exactly, without leaving that gunk behind.
That seems so simple to us now, but at the time, this was a eureka moment. Before R. Stanton Avery, labels were often attached with messy, water-activated glue, or they were pasted on.
Yeah, it was a whole process.
This self-adhesive or pressure-sensitive adhesive, PSA material, allowed for rapid application and removal, and it just revolutionized how products were priced and branded.
It was a true industrial innovation. And think about the complexity of the pressure-sensitive concept itself. It's not just one thing. It involves 3 layers. The face stock.
That's the material you print on.
Right, the paper or the film. Then the adhesive layer, the sticky part, and then the crucial release liner, the backing you peel off. Getting the chemical formulation of the adhesive just right so it adhered immediately with light pressure, hence the name pressure sensitive, and perfectly balancing the bond strength to the surface and the ease of separation from the liner. Well, that was a massive materials challenge he solved.
And Avery's company name tracked this evolution in precision, didn't it? From Kum Kleen Products in 1935, they became Avery Adhesives in 1937.
Then they were incorporated as the Avery Adhesive Label Corps in 1946.
By 1964, they were the Avery Products Corporation, and then came the crucial international recognition, Avery International Corporation in 1976.
And that international shift was absolutely necessary. I mean, it was crucial to meet the increasing standardization of global retail. But the final, definitive identity, the one we analyze today, arrived in 1990.
Avery Dennison.
After the merger with the Dennison Manufacturing Company.
That 1990 merger is what put the current name on the map. But it also distracts us from the fact that the early success of Avery required not just the inventor, our Stanton Avery, but a vital business partner to provide the muscle and scale.
Yes, that partner was H. Russell Smith. He was a college friend of Avery's who joined in 1946 as a one-third owner. And he served as president, CEO, and chairman for nearly 4 decades.
So if Avery was the innovator,
Smith was the operator. While Avery provided the innovative technical genius, Smith provided the professional, the industrial, and the financial backbone.
so what specifically did Smith do that turned an innovative startup into a multinational corporation?
He was the system builder. In 1946, he formally incorporated the fledgling 50-person company. He standardized the manufacturing processes that allowed them to produce the core label materials reliably and at a massive scale.
And he was the one who pushed them to go global, right?
Crucially, yes. He was the engine of global expansion. They knew they needed to move beyond the U.S. market, and he drove that push, establishing their first overseas subsidiary in the Netherlands in 1955.
In 1955.
Yeah. This early European expansion meant they were geared toward global standards from the midpoint of the 20th century.
And on the financial side, he's credited with taking the company public, leading to its listing on the New York Stock Exchange in 1967.
That's right.
That's the ultimate validation of moving from a niche inventor shop to an industrial power player.
It is. Dean Scarborough, who was a later CEO, he noted upon Smith's death in 2014 that Smith gave Avery's elegant technical invention the necessary structure, professionalism, and scale to endure.
I like that phrase.
It's the ability to scale an elegant technical innovation into a reliable, mass-produced global product that separates the novelty company from the enduring corporation. Smith provided that industrial backbone.
So that's the Avery side. 20th century adhesion innovation. Now let's look at the Dennison half of that 1990 equation, the Dennison Manufacturing Company. This side takes us back much, much further in time.
The Dennison lineage is almost a century older than the Avery side. It's kind of amazing. It was founded way back in 1844 in Brunswick, Maine, by Andrew Dennison and his son, Aaron Lufkin Dennison.
1844. That's a staggering lifespan for a modern Fortune 500 predecessor. And they didn't start with adhesives at all, did they?
No, not at all. They started in the precision craft space, manufacturing jewelry and watch boxes.
So very high-end, detailed work.
Exactly. The son, Aaron Lufkin Dennison, eventually turned the company over to his younger brother, Eliphalet Wharf Dennison, who then developed it into a significant industrial enterprise focused on things like specialized paper products and tags.
And they eventually moved to Massachusetts.
Right. The business moved to Framingham, Massachusetts in 1898.
Here's where the historical connection gets intellectually fascinating, though. Aaron Lufkin Dennison, the co-founder, is a major figure in American industrial history for something he did after leaving the family company.
He is. This is a great little historical footnote. After departing, Aaron Lufkin Dennison went on to co-found the famed Waltham Watch Company in 1850.
The Waltham Watch Company. And their historical significance wasn't just making watches. It was that they perfected the American system of watch manufacturing,
Which was all about precision.
The system focused entirely on producing highly accurate, standardized, and most importantly, interchangeable parts.
And this is the connective tissue. This is the fundamental philosophy that the two companies brought together in 1990. You have the Dennison legacy, which is rooted in 19th century precision, standardization, and the mastery of mass manufacturing required for interchangeable parts.
Right.
That conceptual foundation is the ancestor of modern, standardized supply chain elements. The ability to produce billions of identical, reliable components like tags or labels.
So we merged the 19th century mastery of standardized high-volume manufacturing from Dennison with the mid-20th century innovation in chemical adhesion technology from Avery. By 1990, you have a combined entity, Avery Dennison, that is perfectly positioned to dominate the global production of standardized, technical, high-volume materials. The name Avery Dennison captures two entirely distinct, yet perfectly complementary industrial strengths.
It's the definition of a synergistic merger. They combined the expertise in what to make, the adhesive science with the expertise in how to make it at scale and distribute it globally, the manufacturing and standardization expertise.
Now we come to the great pivot. We talked about how the Avery Dennison name became cemented in the public consciousness in 1990. For many, that consciousness was built on their Office and Consumer Products division, which was formally created back in 1982.
Right.
This is the business line that defined them to the average consumer.
Absolutely. When people think of the recognizable Avery brand and logo, they are thinking of the products that came out of this division. The 3 ring binders, the file folders, the simple self-adhesive name badges, the mail merge labels.
These were the finished or converted materials aimed directly at you, the consumer, or at small businesses. That's the key distinction, right?
That's the one.
These were final products, contrasting sharply with their much larger materials division, which sold raw label stock in giant rolls to other industrial converters who would then turn them into final products.
That distinction is vital. The Office Products division was high volume, but eventually it became lower margin, especially as the market changed. That division flourished throughout the late 80s and 90s with the boom in personal computing and printing.
Oh, yeah. If you were doing any conventional mailing or organization, you needed their products.
You had to have them. But the global communication landscape fundamentally shifted. You mentioned the rise of email and the decline in conventional mail volumes. That entire market began to plateau and eventually shrink.
Which leads to the big question. Why would a major company sell the most recognizable, reliable cash flow business it had? It seems counterintuitive.
It was a clear-eyed recognition, macro trends, and a calculated financial decision. The conventional office products business was becoming a drag on growth.
How so?
It required constant physical distribution, and the margins were being squeezed by digital competition. So Avery Dennison had a choice. Either try to save a declining business or double down on their high-margin, specialized material science and emerging high-tech solutions.
They chose the latter, resulting in the massive divestiture. On July 1st, 2013, they sold the entire Office and Consumer Products division, including the popular Avery brand logo and name for those specific products, to CCL Industries.
This move was a defining moment for the modern corporation. They retained their full corporate name, Avery Dennison, their history, and their intellectual property, but they shed the entire business line that most people associated with them.
So they were signaling a change.
A huge one. They were signaling that their identity was no longer defined by finished, consumer-facing office goods, but by specialized industrial materials and digital technology. It was a calculated separation of brand legacy from future strategic direction.
So if the office products are gone, what is the modern structure of this $8.76 billion company? You said they operate on 2 main pillars.
They do. Based on 2023 net sales figures, the organization is clearly bifurcated. The first pillar, and still the foundational business, is the materials group. This accounted for a massive $5.8 billion in net sales in 2023.
$5.8 billion. That is huge. This is where the core R. Stanton Avery legacy lives, right?
Absolutely. This group is tasked with manufacturing and producing the essential raw and highly specialized pressure-sensitive materials. This includes standard film and paper labels, but critically, it extends to complex high-performance applications.
Like what?
Sophisticated graphics, durable reflective materials, and specialty functional products.
Can you give us a sense of what functional products means in this context?
Sure. Think about durability and environment. This includes things like high-tech adhesives for industrial equipment, weather-resistant films used in construction, or the specialized media used for full vehicle wraps.
Ah, so the stuff that has to survive in the real world.
Exactly. The materials group provides the raw composite materials, the multi-layer sandwiches of face stock, adhesive, and liner to other companies who then convert them into the final product. Their continued success relies on constantly innovating the acrylic and polymer chemistry behind the adhesive itself.
Okay, so that's pillar 1. And the second pillar, which is their engine for future growth and higher profitability, is the solutions group.
Correct. The Solutions Group brought in $2.6 billion in net sales in 2023. This is the high-tech, high-value engine focused on providing not just a material, but a complete solution centered around information and identity.
And this is where we see that 3 C's strategy you mentioned earlier.
This is it in action. Connectivity, customization, and care.
Let's start with connectivity and customization here. What products drive that $2.6 billion?
This segment handles sophisticated branding and information management, particularly for the global apparel and general retail industries. They provide everything from woven and printed labels, external embellishments, price management systems, and specialized graphic elements.
So if you bought a shirt and it has a fabric tag listing the size, that probably came through the Solutions Group. If it has a synthetic patch on the sleeve or specialized external branding, that's them.
Yes, but the most impactful element within connectivity is their work in radio frequency identification, RFID, tags, labels, and inlays.
The digital voice of the product.
That's it. An RFID tag contains a tiny chip and antenna, and when activated by a radio frequency reader, it can transmit a unique digital ID.
And why is that so much more valuable than a standard barcode? I mean, barcodes work fine, don't they?
They do for what they were designed for, but a barcode requires line of sight and can only identify the type of product, the SKU. An RFID tag identifies the specific individual item, its unique serial number, and it can be read almost instantly from a distance, hundreds at a time, without line of sight. This fundamentally revolutionizes inventory management, loss prevention, and supply chain visibility. The Solutions Group is a global leader in manufacturing these RFID transponders.
Now let's pivot to the third C, care. The adhesive expertise, which started with peeling a sticker off a piece of paper, is now being deployed in life-critical medical applications. That's a fascinating evolution.
It truly is. This falls under the Other Specialty Converting Businesses designation, and it houses Avery Dennison Medical, which used to operate under the name Vansive Medical Technologies.
And who do they sell to?
They sell highly engineered products directly to healthcare device manufacturers.
What makes this material science so different from, say, a standard shipping label?
The technical demands are just. They're exponentially higher. A skin contact adhesive must be biocompatible. It cannot cause irritation over long periods of wear.
Which is a huge challenge for devices like continuous glucose monitors or long-term wearable sensors.
A massive challenge. They provide specialized barrier films, sophisticated wound dressings that might incorporate different layers for absorption and protection, and custom-engineered securement tapes designed to reliably hold vital medical devices or tubes in place on the body without causing trauma upon removal.
So it has to stick, but not too much.
Right. It's a very delicate balance. This segment leverages their polymer and adhesive chemistry expertise to solve critical problems in patient safety and long-term care.
So the move away from paper office supplies wasn't just lateral. It was a fundamental strategic elevation toward high-margin, high-tech, and mission-critical applications across the three vectors of connectivity, customization, and care.
And that strategic elevation was driven almost entirely by money, by an aggressive, intense merger and acquisition strategy over the past 15 years. They weren't just waiting for technology to appear, they were buying intellectual property, deep expertise, digital platforms, and access to new high-value customer segments.
A shopping spree.
A very strategic one. The M&A activity signals a deep commitment to transforming into an information and connectivity provider.
Okay, let's break down this M&A activity by those strategic focus areas. Starting with the massive push into retail, apparel, and identification, which firmly establishes the connectivity and customization pillars. The foundation for this vertical integration was laid back in 2007 with the acquisition of Paxar.
Paxar was foundational because they were already a major manufacturer of identification and tracking systems specifically for the retail supply chain.
So they bought the infrastructure.
Exactly. This immediately gave the newly forming Solutions Group the infrastructure and market access needed to integrate subsequent identification technologies. It was the platform upon which they built their RFID dominance.
And speaking of RFID dominance, 2020 saw perhaps the most significant single technology acquisition, SmartTrack's RFID transponder business.
That was the move that cemented them as the undisputed global leader in the RFID space. SmartTrack was one of the other leading technology platforms, and by absorbing that business, Avery Dennison consolidated expertise, patents, and market share. It provided them with unrivaled scale in manufacturing those critical inlays that power the digital identity of products.
Now let's look at how they've integrated this digital ID into the physical garment. It's a rapid-fire series of acquisitions designed to provide an end-to-end service for apparel brands.
You see that progression from 2022 and 2023? In 2022, they acquired Textrace, a Swiss technology developer.
Textrace, what did they bring to the table?
They specialize in custom-made, woven, and knitted RFID products. Now, this is a subtle but profound step. I mean, the identification system is no longer just a hang tag. It can be woven or knitted directly into the fabric of the garment.
So it becomes part of the shirt itself. Why does weaving it into the fabric matter so much for the brand?
It matters for durability and aesthetics. If the tag is durable and discreetly integrated, it lasts the life of the product and can withstand industrial washing.
Which is crucial for workwear or rental garments.
Absolutely. It moves the embedded intelligence from a simple accessory to being part of the material structure itself.
And the acquisitions in 2023 focus on adding aesthetic and functional customization capabilities. They acquired Thermopatch,
A specialist in labeling, embellishments, and transfers, often used in high-durability environments like industrial laundry and workwear.
and then they followed that up with Lion Brothers.
A designer and manufacturer of high-end apparel brand embellishments. Think decorative patches, logos, and badges.
And then Silver Crystal Group.
Right, a company that customizes jerseys and apparel for sport organizations.
If you look at those three together, Thermopatch, Lion Brothers, and Silver Crystal, it paints a picture of massive vertical integration. Avery Dennison isn't just selling the raw label stock anymore.
Not even close. They are now involved in the design, customization, manufacturing, and application of the branded embellishment itself. They are moving up the value chain from material supplier to full-service branding partner.
And I'm guessing they can build the RFID right in from the start.
And crucially, yes, they can integrate their RFID technology directly into those embellishments from the point of manufacture, ensuring the digital identity is built in from day one. This provides massive competitive advantage and much higher margins than selling raw materials.
Let's shift focus to the materials group, the $5.8 billion pillar, which also saw necessary expansion to stay competitive in specialty films and substrates. This shows the second strategic focus area.
That's right. They continuously invested in upgrading their foundational science. In 2016, they acquired Ink Mill Corporation. This was purely a technology play.
What kind of technology?
It was about combining their advanced ink capabilities with Avery Dennison's portfolio for specialized media, like complex reflective materials.
Reflective media, which we'll see later, is a high-stakes area used heavily for safety, road signs, and transportation applications.
Extremely high stakes. They then expanded their film expertise in 2017 with two key acquisitions. First, Haneda Coatings, a manufacturer specializing in specialty films and laminates.
And what are those used for?
These films are often used for things like window films, specialized industrial coatings, or flexible packaging barriers. Very technical stuff.
And second, Youngall Tape Company Ltd., a manufacturer of specialty tapes and related products. What constitutes a specialty tape that justifies an acquisition?
Specialty tapes are high-performance industrial adhesives. They are engineered to perform reliably under severe environmental stress that a consumer tape just couldn't handle.
So not the stuff you have in your junk drawer.
Definitely not. We're talking about tapes used in the automotive sector for sealing and dampening, or potentially in electronics for bonding components, or tapes that must maintain adhesion through extreme temperature fluctuations or specific chemical exposures. They are small components, but absolutely mission-critical for the durability and safety of the final product.
And linking back to the care segment, don't forget the acquisition of Finesse Medical in 2017.
Right. Finesse Medical, based in Ireland, immediately brought new product lines and manufacturing capabilities into that high-value healthcare materials business. It fast-tracked their ability to produce advanced medical adhesives and films, reinforcing their focus on biocompatibility and patient care applications.
Okay, we've covered their efforts to solidify their existing business and vertically integrate into apparel. But the third focus area is perhaps the most revolutionary and future-forward: the push into digital identity, connectivity, and sustainability.
This is where we see the company truly embracing its role as an information conduit rather than just a material supplier. In 2021, Avery Dennison launched at averymade.io, spelled ATMA.io.
Okay.
They market it as a digital product cloud to connect physical and digital worlds.
That phrase, digital product cloud, sounds like sophisticated marketing jargon. In plain terms, what exactly is the competitive advantage of ATMA.io? Aren't they competing with massive cloud providers like Amazon or Salesforce in the supply chain data space?
They are, but they have a unique advantage. They manufacture the physical gateway. ATMA.io is essentially the operating system or the specialized data infrastructure built specifically to manage the concept of the digital twin.
The digital twin.
Every product that receives a unique digital ID, usually for one of their RFID tags or sensors, gets a corresponding data profile hosted and tracked on ATMA.io.
So the sticker or the tag isn't just a physical identifier, it's the trigger that initiates and updates a massive data profile in the cloud.
Exactly. Atmutta.io allows brands to track that item's entire life cycle, from raw material sourcing through every stage of manufacturing, shipping, retail, consumer sale, and crucially, its eventual recycling or disposal.
Wow.
This provides unparalleled supply chain visibility and enables brands to verify authenticity or even communicate with the consumer post-purchase, for instance, providing recycling instructions specific to that item's materials.
The label is the physical key to a massive stream of life cycle data.
And to make those keys ubiquitous and cheap, they needed to invest in futuristic hardware. Look at their investment in Pragmatic back in 2016, focused on flexible electronics. The goal there was to miniaturize and cheapen the electronics used in intelligent packaging, making the package itself a data broadcasting point.
But the technology that truly illustrates the future they are betting on is the investment in Wiliot. Avery Dennison joined Wiliot's Series B funding round in 2019. This is where we move into the realm of truly pervasive, inexpensive connectivity.
Wiliot specializes in what they call ambient IoT, specifically battery-free Bluetooth sensors. This is a breakthrough.
Battery-free?
Yes, because traditional IoT sensors require batteries, which are bulky, expensive, and require maintenance. Wiliot sensors are paper-thin, tiny digital pixels.
And the technical marvel is how they power these things if there's no battery.
They harvest power from ambient radio frequencies.
Right, what does that mean?
It means they run on the energy floating in the environment. Wi-Fi signals, cellular signals, or existing Bluetooth signals. Because they don't need a battery, they can be made incredibly cheap, highly resilient, and essentially permanent fixtures embedded into the material itself.
That means these sensors can be embedded into nearly anything without adding weight, volume, or requiring maintenance. Can you give us an analogy for the listener about the real-world application here?
Sure. Imagine every single item in a grocery store, every jar, every head of lettuce, every box, having a sensor the size of a postage stamp embedded in its label.
Okay.
That sensor is constantly broadcasting data about its location, its temperature, and its status using the surrounding radio waves. A store manager could instantly know if milk is about to expire, if a specific product is misplaced, or where every single item is globally without ever needing to manually scan or even install a power source.
That is incredible.
That level of pervasive battery-free visibility is what Avery Dennison is buying into. They are buying into the idea that every physical object will soon have a real-time, permanent digital identity.
And linking the physical world to the digital future must also address the enormous environmental challenge associated with manufacturing billions of materials. This is where their sustainability investments come in.
It's a crucial business necessity. For a company that produces billions of labels, tags, and specialty films that inevitably end up on packaging and apparel, they need to ensure their materials can participate in the circular economy.
Right, or they become part of the problem.
Exactly.
All right.
This led to investments like Roadrunner Recycling in 2020 and Circ in 2023.
Before we move on, what does the Circ investment in textile-to-textile recycling specifically mean in the context of the billions of apparel tags they produce?
Circ focuses on breaking down used polyester and cotton blends and separating them at the molecular level so the fibers can be fully reused to make new fabric, hence textile-to-textile.
I see.
For Avery Dennison, this is about ensuring that the materials they use for embellishments, labels, and identification systems are compatible with modern recycling streams. If the label or the adhesive contaminate the textile recycling process, the whole system fails. By investing in this technology, they are ensuring their products are designed for circularity, which is essential for meeting brand sustainability goals.
Beyond their core areas of materials, apparel ID, and digital cloud, they made a few other noteworthy acquisitions that show their willingness to pivot into adjacent market spaces.
Absolutely. In 2017, they invested in Wrapify, which is focused on expanding the car wrap industry. This is a direct play on their high-performance graphics and materials group, exploring how their advanced adhesive films can be used for wide format, durable outdoor advertising, and vehicle personalization.
And showing a pivot toward food retail operational automation, a key emerging sector. In 2021, they acquired Zipium.
Zipium is a California-based startup focused on developing software and hardware solutions specifically for operational automation and inventory management for food retailers. This moves them beyond simply providing the label and into providing the system that manages the product lifecycle within a quick service or grocery environment.
Again, leveraging digital IDs and streamlined logistics. And also in 2021, they acquired Vestcom.
Vestcom is a provider of pricing and branded labeling solutions, but specifically focused on the retail shelf edge. This is a very targeted acquisition.
The shelf edge.
The shelf edge is a critical, high-volume, necessary retail touchpoint where consumers make their final purchasing decisions. By owning that space, they reinforce their presence exactly where the physical material meets the consumer interaction point.
So the overall acquisition strategy is profoundly cohesive. Solidify dominance in specialty materials, acquire the best digital ID technology like SmartTrack and Wiliot, build the cloud infrastructure to manage the resulting data with apme.io, and then vertically integrate into high-value customer segments like apparel customization and specialized healthcare.
That's the playbook.
It is a stunning transformation driven by strategic investment.
A company of this stature, operating at the intersection of critical industrial IP, faces inevitable corporate challenges and competition. That scale often leads to confrontations with other industry giants.
Which is why the 2012 litigation with 3M Company is worth noting.
Yes, the 3M dispute was significant because it highlighted the fierce competition and high stakes involved in their legacy materials group, particularly around proprietary safety technology.
The core dispute revolved around highly specialized high-performance materials, specifically retroreflective sheeting used for road signs, traffic control devices, and other transportation products.
And 3M, of course, is a massive player in this space, and they allege that Avery Dennison infringed on their patents related to this retroreflective technology, particularly focusing on Avery Dennison's OmniCube product line.
And just to clarify, retroreflective sheeting is that stuff that seems to glow at night when your headlights hit it, right?
Exactly. It's deceptively complex. It uses microprisms or beads to reflect light directly back to the source, like a car's headlights, to maximize visibility at night. The proprietary design of those prisms is immensely valuable intellectual property.
And 3M requested an injunction to stop Avery Dennison from selling OmniCube, which would have been an immediate and significant blow to that part of the materials group.
It would have been, yes. But fortunately for Avery Dennison, the court denied 3M's request for the injunction, which signaled skepticism about 3M's immediate claim to harm.
And then things got interesting.
And here's where the legal maneuvering got intense. Avery Dennison brought counterclaims of their own against 3M, alleging both patent infringement by 3M and critically antitrust violations.
So it wasn't just a defensive posture, it was an aggressive counterattack introducing the element of antitrust.
Exactly. The dual-pressure IP infringement allegations going both ways, plus the threat of a prolonged, costly antitrust investigation, led to a resolution where the parties ultimately agreed to dismiss the 3 pending cases.
So nobody won, but nobody lost.
It was a mutual strategic dismissal rather than a decisive court ruling. It demonstrated that neither party had the clear upper hand, and both preferred to avoid extended public litigation over highly sensitive intellectual property.
That detail underscores that while the company is chasing the digital cloud, the complexity and high value of their core materials group products like specialized films and sheeting remain a fierce competitive battleground.
It also demonstrates their willingness to defend their IP aggressively, even against a titan like 3M. You don't execute a near $9 billion transformation without being willing to take risks and fight for market share in both the physical and digital domains.
And speaking of that physical domain, it's vital to remember that despite the flash of apme.io and Wiliot, they are still fundamentally an adhesive science company. We see proof of their continued investment in that foundational R&D with the 2022 ASC Innovation Award.
Yes, the Adhesive and Sealant Council, ASC, recognized them for advanced acrylics technology for high-performance, pressure-sensitive adhesive applications.
Which sounds very technical.
It is, but it's a crucial detail for you, the learner. It shows they aren't neglecting the chemistry that supports the entire enterprise. Acrylics are versatile polymers, and advancing their technology allows them to create better, longer-lasting, thinner, and more specialized adhesives.
And why does that matter today? Why is better glue still so important?
Because every single high-tech application we discussed relies on that foundational chemistry. Better acrylics mean better, more skin-friendly adhesives for wearable medical sensors. It means better, more durable bonding agents for permanent automotive graphics, and more reliable, heat-resistant bonds for the RFID inlays that are sewn into textiles. The digital future is literally held together by better glue.
It connects their 90-year history directly to the future of the solutions group. And finally, let's return to the massive corporate scale we mentioned at the start, driven by these strategic moves.
The decades of growth, The strategic divestiture of the low-margin business and the relentless acquisition strategy have cemented their place among America's largest manufacturers. The company ranked number 421 on the 2023 Fortune 500 list, reporting total sales of $8.4 billion for that period.
Wow.
That rank doesn't just represent success, it represents an essential, globally significant position in modern manufacturing and supply chain management.
They successfully transformed from a traditional manufacturer into an essential partner in global commerce and technology deployment, proving that corporate reinvention is possible, even for a company rooted in 19th century manufacturing.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, taking the deep dive today? The transformation of Avery Dennison is really a masterclass in strategic corporate evolution. They recognized that the old business model selling basic office products was obsolete.
And they acted on it.
They successfully navigated that challenge by investing heavily and strategically in what we defined as the 3 C's: connectivity,
That's the RFID, Wiliot, and at alma.io.
customization,
The vertical integration into apparel embellishments.
healthcare.
They're high-value specialty medical materials.
They successfully merged 2 distinct industrial histories: Dennison's 19th century mastery of standardization and Avery's 20th century adhesion innovation into a 21st century digital and specialty materials conglomerate.
The resulting company spans 50-plus countries and employs 35,000 people, proving that scale and high-tech relevance can coexist. They are not just selling a product, they're selling the underlying intelligence that powers the visibility and efficiency of global retail and logistics.
The fundamental insight here is that the physical material they produce is no longer inert. It is a conduit for information. The label is no longer just paper and glue. It is the physical manifestation of a digital identity, serving as the gateway to the digital twin concept.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. Avery Dennison is heavily focused on using invisible, paper-thin, battery-free sensors and digital ID platforms like atapma.io to track products from manufacturing through to recycling. This implies pervasive tracking infrastructure. Consider, how far are we, really, from a future where every single physical object you own, from the appliances in your kitchen to the individual clothes in your closet, has a constant, real-time digital identity embedded directly within the material itself, constantly streaming data about its history, location, authenticity, and potential for reuse?
It's a vision where the physical and digital worlds are seamlessly unified, and that unity is powered by a remarkably sophisticated piece of pressure-sensitive adhesive technology.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.